Caroline Dowd-Higgins. Thank you for listening to Your Working Life, my podcast series featuring thought leaders in the career and personal growth arena. I know that you spend a significant portion of your life at work, so I'm on a mission to provide you with tools, inspiration, and resources so you can enjoy your career and love your life. And I am delighted to welcome my very special guest to the show today, Marlene Williamson. Marlene, welcome to the show.
Caroline, it's great to be with you.
Well, I am excited about our conversation, but first I want to tell the listening audience about you. Marlene Williamson is the Chief Executive Officer of Watermark, the world's largest organization of executive women who have risen to the top of their fields. The Watermark mission is to increase the representation of women in leadership roles by empowering them to make their mark in and for their companies, their careers, and their communities. Now, Marlene has been named Marketer of the Year by the American Marketing Association, Partner of the Year by Yahoo, Innovator of the Year by Google, and Outstanding Female Executive in Silicon Valley by the YWCA. A Woman of Influence in Silicon Valley by the San Jose Business Journal, and a 2013 Woman Who Has Made Her Mark by Watermark. Marlene, you are quite impressive, and I'm really eager to hear the story. So tell me about how Watermark got started.
Well, years ago, Watermark began as an organization for executive women by my predecessors who thought that there was really a need for it. And we've been around for almost 23 years now. And as you said, our mission has been totally focused on increasing the representation of women in leadership roles. And it was really born out of the fact that women felt that there wasn't the gender diversity that we all know now is so paramount to the economic impact and driving the bottom line of organizations. At the time, folks didn't really see that economic impact, but now there are studies after study after study that really does prove that the more diverse you are with your organization, the positive impact it does have to the bottom line. And that's one of the things that we do focus on is making sure that people understand that does impact the bottom line. It's not a nice to have. It's not something that you just think you should be doing because it's the right thing to do. It really does move the dial at the bottom line.
That's great. So, Marlene, my question, it's so wonderful to hear that you've been in existence for 23 years. Has much changed? It's 2015, and I appreciate that we are moving the dial, we are moving the needle, but clearly there's more work to be done.
No doubt about it, Caroline. One of the things that Watermark did this year was we held a huge conference for women here in Silicon Valley. It sold out, 5,000 people, and I will never forget the president of Intel at the time, Renee James, looked at the crowd in her speech, and she said, 75 years ago, we got the right to vote. How do you think our suffragette sisters would think about the progress that we've made in that time? And you could hear an audible sigh within that crowd of 5,000 people. It really struck home that, is this something we want to still keep talking about? And in my opening remarks at that conference, as I was thinking about what I wanted to say to inspire the attendees, it was, maybe we should really start to take a page out of the gay rights and the civil rights movements. And I do think that the conversation absolutely is getting elevated. There is a tsunami effect of a lot of different activities, whether it is Hillary Clinton running for president or what Patricia Arquette said in her comments when she received the Oscars this year, or some of the lawsuits that have been filed recently. It is elevating the conversation, and things are getting better, but we still have to keep pushing the ball forward.
I agree. We've got to keep working on it every day. But I'd like to talk more about that, Maureen. I think, well, let me ask you, as a native New Yorker, you are on the other coast, right? And I'm actually in the middle of the country. I live and work in the Midwest now. But the diversity landscape in Silicon Valley is something that we hear a lot about, good and bad, right? So it's supposed to be one of the most progressive areas in our country, but we hear consistently it's very tough for women, especially in the startup and the tech industry. So, can you speak to that and what's really going on out in California?
Certainly, the light does shine very brightly, as you say, on Silicon Valley because it is recognized by the world
Mm,
as being a hub of innovation and being so welcoming. And you see people from all other countries moving here because access to capital, access to innovation, and a creative, nurturing environment. However, um, because it is so technology focused, the vast majority of engineers have been men for
yeah.
decades. And I am extremely encouraged by the numbers of women who were raised in Asian cultures and Indian cultures because math and science were very, very strongly emphasized in those cultures. And so I do see more of them, women starting companies, technology companies out here in the Bay Area. Of course, certainly, in the New York area, which can be dominated by financial institutions,
Right.
that's also been an issue for women in those environments as well.
I'm fascinated too that Watermark is a nonprofit, and I understand that recently you were the only nonprofit organization representing the private sector to attend the annual Mayor's Conference recently in San Francisco. So, how did you get invited to that, and what happened? I'd be eager to hear.
Well, certainly, San Francisco did host the National Mayors Conference, and San Francisco, like many major cities, has a department on the status of women.
Right.
And Watermark has a very good partnership with them, and because of that, we were invited there. And Caroline, it was so great to listen to female mayors from around the United States talking about what they are doing in their cities from a female perspective to clean things up, whether it is removing the mass quantity of massage parlors that might be in their city, or working with law enforcement over human trafficking. It
Wow.
was just fascinating of what a mayor who happens to be female and what they will tackle because they are a woman. It was great to see.
We just need so many more women in public office. Was there an energy, any part of the discussion about having more women in those ranks?
Absolutely, and certainly the mayor of San Francisco, Mayor Ed Lee, often talks about how proud he is of his administration in San Francisco and the gender diversity that he has, and he often challenges the private sector to to get to pull up their numbers as strongly as the public sector has done. I certainly can attest to the state of California has a number of female leaders in the public sector and in major offices. But so we do a lot together to support the economic status of women, both in the public and in the private sector.
Marlene, you've had a long and vibrant career in Silicon Valley, especially in the marketing realm, in corporate entities like Apple, Hitachi, Ericsson, Symantec, IBM, for example. So, what inspired you to take on the role of CEO for Watermark, which was really a departure in the nonprofit realm?
I had been a member of Watermark for most of my career. I had been on their board, and people who know me, people who love me, Caroline, they sat me down, they looked me in the eye, and they said, "You should do this."
Oh, it's great.
And I said, "Really? You think? This is a real change." And they said, "Absolutely, Marlene. You are the best network person we know. You know everybody in town, and you're really passionate about this topic. We need your leadership. We need your marketing acumen and your networking abilities, and we think you can take Watermark to the next level." So I'm delighted to do it and having a good time doing it as well.
Good for you. And relatively new in the role, correct? You started in December?
I actually started in
In
January, so
January.
I've been doing it for 6 months now.
Good for you. So tell me about some specific successes or some things that are on your plate that you're most proud of or things that are coming down the pike.
We were able to produce Watermark's very first conference, day-long conference for women, where we brought in Hillary Clinton
Wow.
and Diane von Furstenberg and 100 other fabulous speakers to inspire and motivate the women of Silicon Valley. So we're very proud of that. We also produce an innovation conference that we did at Intuit back in June, which was sold out to really highlight the true innovators in the area and what you can do in your own environment to drive innovation and creativity. And coming up on in September 24th, we're going to have our annual entrepreneur conference that will be held. And what we try to do there is highlight the female CEOs and venture capitalists of the area to talk about the war stories, the good, the bad, the ugly.
That's great.
And so that people can learn and be inspired and walk away and go, you know, if they did it, I can do it too.
That's great. And I'm so happy to hear good, the bad, and the ugly because we learn from all three. We really do.
Absolutely.
So, Marlene, is Watermark just for women in the California realm or is it national? Tell me more about who can get involved.
We are Bay Area focused with our physical events. However, we have about 30 corporate sponsors, big name global companies that we all know and love. And naturally, they have employees all over the globe. So Watermark conducts webinars every month, and so folks from around the globe participate in our webinars. We also do a lot of leadership development workshops where we actually travel around the globe conducting workshops about how women and men's brains operate differently, they think differently, they mentor differently, they negotiate differently, and we do a lot of workshops for our corporate sponsors around the globe. So in that sense, we do try to have a global footprint.
That's great. And, professional development is just not as easily found within companies anymore. So Watermark is an essential resource for women.
Well, thank you for saying that, Caroline. It is true. We get that feedback quite a bit, and our niche, we're the diversity experts, and we come in, and it's so much fun, Caroline, to watch the audience. Most of our audiences are co-ed.
Yeah, I'm not
These
surprised.
and you can see the light bulbs going off, especially in the men's brain. It's like, oh, maybe that's why I'm not getting the response I'm looking for. Oh, I had no idea she thought differently than that. And it's really quite enlightening for them to learn and understand, as well as we focus. We have the very senior executives, but we also have members that are on their way up that we call emerging executives. So we do a lot of leadership development for them, but also at the senior levels. When you become a top tier executive, you often become the teacher,
Right.
and so for many of them, they want to learn how they can give back by participating on public and private boards. So we have programs to coach them, and we've had many women go through these programs and actually have successfully landed on many boards. And so we do that for the senior executives as well.
It sounds like such a robust variety of offerings. That's extraordinary. And I'm so thrilled to hear that the men are invited to the table because not only is their voice important, but I think it can be transformative to them, as you just said, to understand what's happening, right? It's the men are from Mars and women are from Venus concept.
Yeah.
We need to talk together and play in the sandbox together.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we do for all of our members is I say, I broker a lot of relationships with men.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Men still hold the vast majority of senior executive roles. And the best thing I can do for my members is to introduce them to a few good men.
Absolutely.
And so we do that quite often with joint events with other organizations. We have a man on our board. We have male members. We have men who attend our events. And it's always great to chat with them because whenever they attend a Watermark event, I would say that, Caroline, that the vast majority of the content of our events is not female focused. It is leadership focused. And so the men always come up to me and they say, man, I got to bring more of my buddies to the next Watermark event. So we do that.
I like it. Yes, it's genderless. It's all about being a leader. Good stuff.
Right.
So Marlene, tell me about the Watermark Index and the incredible research that is being conducted.
Well, for the last 11 years, Watermark has had a great relationship with the University of California at Davis. And every year, they have stack ranked the top 400 public companies in the state of California based on how gender diverse they are with their senior leadership and their board members. And we always hold an event, and we get great coverage, and people are always very interested. But to your earlier point about Silicon Valley and the focus there about gender diversity, one of the things that we're going to launch this year is what we're calling the Watermark Index. And it is based on the great work that UC Davis does. And we're going to pull out the Bay Area companies that are doing a great job and honor them and share best practices and help people learn about what they can do in their own environments to become more gender diverse.
Fantastic. This research is imperative. It really does. It forms the conversation, it informs the conversation, and it's essential if we want to move forward.
Very true. Very true. So this is our way of advocating for this issue and raising the bar. and continuing to give it more prominence so people start talking about it. And it will be recognized as something an award that people will want to aspire to.
So, Marlene, dream with me a little bit. What do you want to see in the next, say, 5 or 10 years when it comes to women in the workplace, and how might Watermark impact that dream or that goal?
Well, I hope that we will continue to be a forum for executives to help them grow, learn leadership skills, and be a nurturing, warm, open environment where they can be supported by other executives that they can mentor with, learn from, and collaborate with. It is very inspiring for me every day to um, uh, chat with other women's organizations and how open everybody is to support one another. It is very there's no competition. Everybody is on the same mission to make sure that the numbers get better. And that's my vision, and that's the hope for all the members of Watermark.
That's great. So, Marlene, if you could give one bit of personal advice to women listening, whether she is an aspiring leader or she is leading already or she's struggling with her career, trying to figure out what the next step is, what would you say to her? And I realize that's a big question, but what's your favorite bit of advice to share for the women listening?
I think that having a strong network of your own personal board of directors, your own colleagues, to network with other executives outside of your company or your organization is very, very empowering. You get other perspectives, different feedback. You make connections that you never in your wildest dreams thought would be important to you. But by connecting with other people, it will develop you, and you will be able to support them, and they're going to be able to support you, and that is going to pay off uh, to you personally in more ways than you could ever dream of. So that would be my advice to people, that having really good, strong networks can be very, very empowering to your career and for yourself personally.
Wonderful words of wisdom, Marlene Williamson. What a joy to have you on. Tell us how we can connect with you in the social media sphere and how we can find Watermark online.
You can find Watermark at www.wearewatermark.org. And I encourage you to check out our website and see all the things that we're doing. It's been fun chatting with you, Caroline.
Marlene, thank you so much. And I hope that our professional paths cross again soon, maybe next time in person. And I thank you for sharing your time and wisdom with us today.
Thanks, Caroline.
And I want to thank you for listening to Your Working Life today, where my goal is to help you design your career destiny so it doesn't happen by default. True career and life satisfaction is possible, and it's time to embrace what you love doing so you can do more of it. I'm Caroline Dowd-Higgins. Take good care.